Today we finally remember Christina Vela, friend, historian, and author who received the Louisiana Writer Award last year. This year's book festival is dedicated to her. According to her daughter, Christy, Christina didn't talk much about awards and such, but she talked nonstop for weeks about the Louisiana Writer Award and considered it a highlight of her career. We miss her, or as she would say, we miss you, dear.
Today's one of those days where sad things and happy things make you want to cry. We loved Christina, and we were glad to have her with us last year. Good morning. On behalf of Lieutenant Governor Billy Nungesser and the Center for the Book and the State Library of Louisiana, welcome to the 14th Annual Louisiana Book Festival and the Louisiana Writer Award. The Louisiana Writer Award is given annually by the Center for the Book within the State Library to recognize outstanding contributions to Louisiana's literary and intellectual life as exemplified by a writer's body of work. Past recipients include novelists Ernest Gaines, James Lee Burke, Christine Wiltz, John Bigonnet, Shirley Ann Grau, Elmore Leonard, Tim Gautreaux, Valerie Martin, James Wilcox, and Tom Piazza, children's author William Joyce, scholar Lewis P. Simpson, poets William J. Smith, Yosef Kumanyaka, and Darrell Bork, who's with us today, historian Carl Brasso, and of course, beloved historian biographer Christina Vela. Today, we officially add to this distinguished list the name of JOHNETTE Downing, the 18th recipient of the Louisiana Writer Award and only the second children's author to receive the award. Called the Pied Piper of Louisiana music traditions, JOHNETTE is a multi-award-winning musician and author dedicated to sharing her Louisiana roots music, books, and cultural heritage with children around the world. JOHNETTE's children's music career began organically when a fellow children's musician, Judy Stock, told her, "You would be great performing for children," after seeing JOHNETTE perform in a folk music trio at the then Neutral Ground Coffee House in New Orleans. Once the eureka moment bell rang in JOHNETTE's head, there was no unringing it. JOHNETTE was hired on the spot by troubadour and teacher Philip Melanson to perform at his school. Coincidentally, Philip, a frequent children's entertainer, is at our book festival today, performing later. JOHNETTE worked for many years as an itinerant music therapist for children with special needs for the Jefferson Parish school system and as an early childhood music teacher for Isidore Newman Lower School in New Orleans. Evolving from that initial experience, her educator workshops on how to use music to teach English as a second language has been employed on 5 continents. She is a regular performer at the New Orleans and Jazz Festival, the French Quarter Festival, the Louisiana Book Festival, as well as in schools, libraries, performing arts centers, and museums. For almost a decade, she's performed a free monthly family-friendly Friday in the French Market concert series at the New Orleans Jazz National Historical Park Visitor Center. Her first record, Music Time, received 5 awards, including a Parent's Choice Recommended Award. Her next recording, From the Gumbo Pot, celebrated all things dear in Louisiana, earning her a Parent's Choice Silver Honors Award. Her Dixieland Jazz for Children is the first ever jazz recording of its kind, with trumpeter Jimmy LaRocca and his original Dixieland Jazz Band. This historic recording received an iParenting Media Award and a Parent's Choice Approved Award. There's no wonder JOHNETTE is considered the musical ambassador to children. Author, freelance writer, and Louisiana Book News columnist Cherie Cohen writes, JOHNETTE Downing's vibrant storytelling makes every book a celebration between the covers. JOHNETTE's career as a published author, like her children's music career, also began organically. Illustrator Deborah Ousley-Kadair-Thomas approached JOHNETTE after a library concert and said, "I like your Today is Monday in Louisiana song. Do you mind if I illustrate it and submit it to my publisher?" Growing from that, JOHNETTE's passion for combining Louisiana roots music and books, and for sharing that passion with children in the way her parents shared it with her, led her to write numerous singable books over her 30-year career. Former Louisiana poet Dr. Julie Kane writes, JOHNETTE Downing thinks like a kid, but writes like a magician. Her body of work includes 19 picture books, 3 board books, and 10 recordings. Her first picture book, Today is Monday in Louisiana, which was selected for the Big Read Young Reader component in 2010, is now in its 5th printing and has received a National Parenting Publication Award. Further, it's being petitioned through a grassroots effort by teachers to be the official Louisiana state song for children, and has given rise to Today is Monday books for Texas, New York, and Kentucky. JOHNETTE is renowned for her original song, story, haiku, and southern folk tales. Her books, Why the Crawfish Lives in the Mud and There Was an Old Lady Who Swallowed Some Bugs, are on the accelerated reader list. Why the Crawfish Lives in the Mud, Petit Pierre and the Floating Marsh, and Mumbo Jumbo, Stay Out of the Gumbo, her latest book, were chosen to represent the state of Louisiana at the National Book Festival in Washington, D.C. in 2008, 2016, and 2017. In addition to her parenting media accolades or New Orleans City Business Magazine Woman of the Year Award, a New Orleans Magazine 2014 Top Female Achievers Award, a Gambit Weekly 40 Under 40 Award, and a New Orleans Magazine 30 People to Watch Award. In 2016, she was commissioned by the Audubon Nature Institute and the New Orleans Pelicans NBA team to write a picture book about a pelican and the wetlands. Petit Pierre and the Floating Marsh, written by her and illustrated by Heather Stanley, was donated by the Audubon Nature Institute and the New Orleans Pelicans as part of their wetlands education initiative to every public library and elementary school in the state at a ceremony at last year's Louisiana Book Festival. In 2017, she received a Grammy participation certificate for co-writing 2 songs and singing backup vocals on the Grammy Award-winning Best Traditional Blues album, Porcupine Meat, by blues legend Bobby Rush, which also earned her husband, producer Scott Billington, his 3rd Grammy. JOHNETTE and Scott are embarking on a new venture as the children's music duo JOHNETTE and Scott, with a new record titled Swamp Rock, slated for a 2018 release. JOHNETTE holds a Bachelor of Arts degree in theater from Southeastern Louisiana University in Hammond, and she and Scott live in New Orleans. Later today, she will discuss in detail her body of work with past Louisiana Writer Award recipient Darryl Borg. Through her books and music, JOHNETTE has truly been a champion for literacy throughout our state, having appeared in 61 of the state's 64 parishes, and I know she plans to make it to the remaining 3 this coming year. But beyond this, she has been a world ambassador for Louisiana through books and songs that celebrate what is special about Louisiana's culture by sharing that message in the Middle East, Africa, Asia, Europe, Central America, South America, North America, and the Caribbean. On a personal level, I've known JOHNETTE for a little over 20 years when we were both starting our careers in books and libraries. Over the years, I've watched with great admiration how hard she works with the children of Louisiana. I'm sorry. I could not remember one time when I asked her to help with a project or fill in for someone that had to cancel or work with us on something that she did not say yes. Her first response was always yes, not what is it, always yes. Her legacy will be not only her impressive body of work and the tangible things she gives to us, like books and words and music, but will also be the countless number of children whose lives that she's touched. And I cannot think of a more deserving recipient. Please welcome JOHNETTE Downing, the 2017 Louisiana Writer Award recipient. I'm sorry. I am hard on my sleeve today. Oh.
That's amazing. Thank you so much, Rebecca. That's got me crying before
I know,
I
I'm
started
sorry.
crying myself.
And I practiced that to not cry.
Thank you so much. Receiving the Louisiana Writer Award is truly an honor, and I'm deeply grateful and humbled to be listed among such esteemed writers as Ernest Gaines and Chris Wiltz and Darryl Burke, who's here today. I love him. Tom Piazza and John Bigonet, all of whom I admire and many of whom are my friends. Thank you to Lieutenant Governor Nungesser for his support of the Louisiana Book Festival. His participation in the festival sends a clear message that literacy matters. I met him for the first time at the donation ceremony for Petit Pierre, and he said that of all the books at the festival last year, mine was his favorite.
And he meant that.
Yes, it was, and I thought, wow, I mean, I was so flattered by his comment, but it really sent a message to me that, you know, a lieutenant governor took time out of his busy schedule governing the state to read a children's book. And that really had an impact on me, and I have so much respect for him for doing that. And I want to thank him for supporting authors and writers, and especially this book festival. I have had the pleasure of participating in the Louisiana Book Festival since its inception. I've also had the pleasure, as Rebecca said, of knowing this fabulous lady for, like you said, 27 years, I believe. Yeah. Rebecca has had the same dedication to sharing the power of books with not only urban children, but rural children. I've seen her out in the little libraries all over the state. She still has that dedication for sending the power of books to children today. She's never wavered, and she does it all with an enormous heart. Thank you so much. You're a treasure to our state. And you made me cry right away. If ever there was a Southern gentleman, it is Jim Davis. It's fitting, and I know I'm going to be a little corny here, Jim. It's fitting that his name is Jim because he is a Jim to me and to everything related to the book. The fact that we even have a Louisiana Center for the Book is a testament to his commitment to literacy in our state. I don't know what I've ever done to deserve his kindness, but I am deeply grateful for you, sir. Together with Robert Wilson, who is an amazing magic maker. I don't know how he does this, 250 authors at this festival. He schedules every single thing, and he has a staff of about 30 or 40 people. They put this whole festival together with the Lieutenant Governor's Office, the State Librarian, the State Library, the Louisiana Center for the Book, and they give this gift of a book festival to Louisiana every year, and they make it look so easy, and it's not. Let's please give a round of applause for them. It's amazing. Because you do it with heart, that's why it looks easy. When Rebecca and Jim told me that I was the recipient of this award, I wanted to say, "Are you sure? Like, really? Today is Monday. Today, I don't know, really?" Like Darryl Burke, I mean, really? So, but I'm deeply grateful for that. I refrained because I didn't want him to take it back. And then they told me I was only the second children's book author to receive this, the first being William Joyce. And it just goes to show that how much they are committed to children's literature this year. It's a priority for them. It's always been a priority for them. And I want to thank them also for focusing on poetry this year. It's amazing. You've expanded this so much, and I know the poets out there really appreciate it. I'm one of them. My passion is, as Rebecca said, writing and singing about Louisiana culture. And it's ironic for me that the festival artwork this year is called Spanish Town by Keith Morris. Perhaps my love for Louisiana culture originates from my connection to my Spanish ancestors who came here to Louisiana in 1778 from the Canary Islands to colonize and to serve in the American Revolution. They left their volcanic black beaches of Tenerife in the Canary Islands in the Atlantic Ocean, and they arrived in the swamps of Louisiana at Galvez Town, which is now Galvez, Louisiana, in Ascension Parish. In fact, the town of Gonzales is named after an uncle in my family, Gonzales Cavo line. After floods and disease nearly wiped out Galvez Town, the inhabitants were moved to Spanish Town. And it is poignant for me today because the land grant that my ancestor, Jose Gonzalez Cavo, was given for his service in the American Revolution at the Battle of Baton Rouge is the land upon which we stand at this very moment. So he was given, and when I looked on Google Earth when I first did my ancestry, and I said, what is this big white building on my ancestors' land? What is that thing? And what's that little quad, or the barracks? And then I realized it's this building. So that's really amazing for me. It's like my career came full circle today. So being among one of the first families of Louisiana, my Spanish ancestors mixed with French, Cajun, Irish, Scottish, German, and Native Americans. It is this blending of cultures, cuisine, folklore, customs, and traditions that served as an incubator to my young creative mind. My grandmother, Irene Rodriguez Gonzalez of Varnedo, told me over and over again, "You are a Creole. Always be proud of that." So it is this passion for sharing my culture that has shaped my life and my career. As a child, I had the best of both worlds, rural and urban Louisiana. I grew up in New Orleans, steeped in tradition and history and architecture, cuisine, Mardi Gras, music, and cultural diversity. My parents were both singers and musicians in the church. My father was a Baptist preacher who played the tuba and the violin. My mother was a child caregiver who played the piano and a saxophone. And they took my siblings and me to the French Quarter on a regular basis, and we would stand in the doorways of clubs listening to jazz and blues. My grandparents, on the other hand, lived in Sanamaw, Louisiana, in Ascension Parish, with chickens and rabbits and fishing off a wooden pier that my grandfather made by hand. That sliver of a river was a world of wonder to 4 city kids, and we spent our summers there. My grandmother was robust, she was a child of the Depression, and she exemplified joie de vivre with a can-do, never-fail attitude. In her tiny kitchen, my grandmother cooked everything we caught in that river, from turtles to perch, as well as gumbo and rabbit stew and all the Louisiana dishes you can think of. She was a Creole chef in our family, and I dedicated my Chef Creole book to her. My grandfather was French, quiet, contemplative, religious, and an avid reader. He served us café au lait and demi-tasse cups to everyone in the house, including us children. And I remember one time performing in Johnson Bayou in Cameron Parish, and there was a little 2-year-old running around with a sippy cup, and she was barely walking, and she had her little sippy cup, and I looked down and I said, "Is that cafe au lait in that sippy cup?" "Oh yeah, Miss, we all drink coffee even at the young age like that." And I said, "Just like me." Okay, my grandfather's not that weird, you know. So that was really sweet. But he used French words like bateau for boat and fifolet for faux filet or fire sprite. And we didn't know those were French words until we went back home to New Orleans and started using those words. And bateau, what's that? I don't know. So I dedicated my fifolet book to him. My grandparents took my siblings and me to Pierre Park to stay at my aunt's camp on Bell River. And we would swim in snake, alligator, and raw sewage-infested water at the time. It's cleaned up now. And they let us. And they would say, "Swim in the middle," just as a precaution so that we wouldn't, get hurt. As if snakes and alligators don't swim in the middle. And at night, the grown-ups would go to the dance halls in that area in Pierre Park, and they would dance to Swamp Pop. And sometimes they would let us go with them to those dances. But my earliest memory of childhood is of my mother rocking me in her rocking chair and reading and singing to me to put me to sleep. I remember watching the words form on her lips as she read. The cadence of her voice, lyrical, up and down as she did make the words leap off the page into life, and the pausing of her breath as she turned a page of the book to read the next page. After reading, she would sing to me and rock me to sleep. My father was also an avid reader, and he had a library in our house. It was a small room, but he had books from the floor to the ceiling on all 4 walls. And I would go into that library, and I would play Librarian. And I would hope that one day that my books would be on that shelf. And my brother's bedroom was in that library at some point. Remember, John? His bed was under all those books. And he's here with me today. Thank you, John. I love you. So for me, singing and reading have a strong connection, which is why many of my books are songs. I wanted to share my love of reading and stories and music with children the way my parents shared it with me. I knew my entire life that I wanted to be a writer and a singer. And when I was in the 7th grade, my parents bought a guitar for me for Christmas, and my Aunt Mary gave me a nothing book so that I could fill the pages with poems and stories and songs. I still have that first guitar, and I still have that nothing book. So I grew up with this blending of cultural influences from Cajun, swamp pop, blues, Afro-Caribbean, and jazz music, as well as a melange of Louisiana customs, folklore, stories, and cuisine. From my adolescence to my college years, I performed in various bands, and in the 80s, like Rebecca said, my friend Judy Stock came up to me and she said, "You'd be great with children." And it really was like a bell went off. And I said, wow, that's what I'm supposed to do with my whole life. It was like everything came together. My parents reading to me, my mother's music, and all of the instruments we had in the house, that this is what I want to do with my life. And and then like Rebecca said too, everything came organically after that. I started, but it wasn't until my 3rd recording from the Gumbo Pot that I found my niche. This record of Louisiana songs for children solidified who I was as an artist, what I wanted to say, and how I wanted to be of service to children. And then after the record was released, I was performing at the Librarian in Baton Rouge, and Deborah Kader came up to me, and she said she wanted to illustrate my Today is Monday song, and she did. And she said, "I'll send it to my publisher." And that publisher was Pelican Publishing with Dr. Calhoun. And he gave me a chance, and he published my first book. And it remains to this day my bestseller. So I want to thank Deborah Kader for that. And after 10 recordings and 21 books with Pelican Publishing, 2 board books with River Road Press, the beauty of being with a Louisiana small to mid-sized publishers is that it feels very much like a family. I can call Kathleen Nettleton on the phone. I can talk to my editor, Nina Coy. I can talk to the PR director, Antoinette D'Alteris, sales rep, John Schneid, or Don Anderson, and art director, Kevin Johnson. I can call them at Pelican, and they actually pick up the phone. And that's an amazing thing, because you don't get that with a large publishing house. And the same is true with Scott Campbell at River Road Press, who's published 2 of my board books. So thank you, Scott and Kathleen, for publishing my books, keeping them in print. That's a main thing, a major thing, and for letting me be part of your wonderful family. So people often ask me about the writing process. Oh, I wanted to sing. Somebody wanted me to. I wanted to sing, yeah. Today is Monday, so I'm going to ask Scott, since I talked about Deborah Kader, and today is Monday, Scott's going to give a few of my friends some cards so that you can get the idea of Today is Monday in Louisiana. Now, you guys, you have to go like this, have a bowl, and say, "Come and eat it up, come and eat it up." Everybody? Like you mean it. Come and eat it up, come and eat it up. Like it's recess? Come, okay, you got it. Today is Monday, today is Monday. Monday, red beans, all you lucky children. Come and eat it up, come and eat it up. Why do we eat red beans and rice on Monday? It's wash day, the day we do laundry. You can cook beans slowly all day and do the laundry. At the end of the day, the beans and the laundry are done. Today is Tuesday, today is Tuesday. Tuesday, po' boys, Monday, red beans, all you lucky children, come and eat it up. Sing it. Right. Today is Wednesday, today is Wednesday. Wednesday, gumbo, Tuesday, Monday, all you lucky children, come and eat it up, come and eat it up. What's a gumbo? It's a soup, and the word gumbo is a West African word. Do you know what it means? Okra, that's right. Today is Thursday, today is Thursday. Thursday, jambalaya, Wednesday, gumbo, Tuesday, Monday, all you lucky children, come and eat it up. Come and eat it up. What's a jambalaya? A rice dish, good. And this dish came to Louisiana from what country? Spain. It's actually paella. A lot of people think it's French, but it's paella, a famous dish in Spain. Today is Friday. Today is Friday. Friday, catfish. Thursday, jambalaya. Wednesday, Tuesday, Monday. All you lucky children, come and eat it up. Come and eat it up. Why do we eat catfish on Friday? Because of all the Catholics in Louisiana, right? And they don't eat meat on Friday, especially during Lent, so they eat seafood instead. Today is Saturday. Today is Saturday. Saturday, crawfish. Friday, Thursday, Wednesday, Tuesday, Monday. All you lucky children, come and eat it up. Come and eat it up. Why did I put crawfish on Saturday? Because so we can party. Louisianians love to party, right? And the quickest way to get friends over to your house is have a crawfish boiled. Today is Sunday. Today is Sunday. Sunday, beignets. Saturday, Friday, Thursday, Wednesday, Tuesday, Monday. All you lucky children, come and eat it up. Come and eat it up. What's a beignet? It's a donut. This is a French pastry, right? So we have French, African, Spanish, Catholic traditions. We have so many cultures in Louisiana, plus we have many more. Native American, German, all different types of cultures. We are definitely a gumbo pot. All you lucky children, come and eat it up. Come and eat it up. Come and eat it. Nice job. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. Now that's love when your publisher gets up there too, huh? Friends, thank you, Matt. Thank you. Thank you so much. Well, people often ask me about the writing process, and they say, writing for children must be easy. And I say, it is. If you know children, and if you can get in the mind of a child. Most parents and educators will tell you the number one question that a 3-year-old will ask you is, why? So don't ride your tricycle in the street. Why? Because a car will run over you. Why? Because they won't see you. Why? Because you're little. Why? Because you're 3. Why? Because I said so. As an early childhood music teacher for 28 years, I learned that the only answer to the question why from a 3-year-old is, I don't know why. Why do you think? Because the child at 3-year-old, they already know. They're just asking you for validation of what they already know. So it's better just to ask them, I don't know, you tell me. This is why I was compelled to write several pourquoi tales, or why tales, like Why the Crawfish Lives in the Mud. In the tradition, I really wanted it to be in the tradition of an origin trickster tale. Many people believe that Why the Crawfish Lives in the Mud is an old tale that I just adapted, and it's not. It's an original tale. So I guess I did my job in making it sound really old. But when I read the book, I thought, well, I love the book. It is one of our bestsellers, too, as Kathleen can attest. And but I thought, too, at the end, only the person who was tricked, because there's a trickster and then he tricks someone, only the victim was changed. So it's a little unfair, but that is in the tradition of trickster tales. Someone tricks and the victim gets changed. So I thought, wait a minute, the bully gets off, gets off unscathed, and the victim is marred forever? So why does the bully win? Or does he? Does he win? Just because the victim is physically changed or in one change. What about the trickster? Is he morally changed? Is he spiritually changed? And I think that is what teaches us, the origin tales teach us. What about his karma? So for Why the Possum Has a Large Grin, I created a double Y ending, because I believe that every encounter you make with someone, both people are changed. You change each other's lives in one way or another, for good or for bad, and hopefully for good. And every encounter with someone is a learning experience, so we can use that for good or bad. So this is what trickster tales are about, and they're morality tales too, and it teaches us how we should treat one another. My grandfather was really big on that, treat others the way you want them to treat you. And so I created a double Y ending for that. So I would like to read that really quickly if I can. Okay. Because Miss Amanda Taylor in the back told me I should. So this is Why the Possum Has a Large Grin, one of my books. And ironically, it started as a little Choctaw tale with just 2 sentences. This one I did adapt, but it was only 2 sentences long, and I discovered that I was Choctaw. I knew I was Native American, but I didn't know which tribe. So this is sort of an homage to my heritage too. So it goes like this. Some time past, there was one long, long dry season north of Lake Pontchartrain in Louisiana. It was so dry that all the bayous and lakes looked like the back of an alligator. Now that's dry. Food was some kind of scarce, and all of the animals were having fits trying to find enough to eat. It was there in the forest that the deer came upon the possum, who was rubbing his full belly and smacking his wet lips together. Deer asked, "How are you so plump, Possum, when I can't find any food to eat?" Possum looked at the tasty persimmon fruit hanging from the tree branches and said, "Ha, ha, ha, ha. Wouldn't you like to know?" You see, ever since time began, the possum has enjoyed a reputation of being a little trickster. As cute as he is, he's not always one to be trusted. And to make matters worse, Possum is some kind of lazy in the daytime and looks for any reason to get out of work so he can take a nice, cozy nap. Possum could easily climb the tree to get the persimmons for the poor little deer, but the mere idea of that long climb to help someone else just tired him out completely. Right then and there, Possum hatched a plan that would change the course of history forever. Smelling the sweet fruit, Deer said, "Please help me, Possum. I'm really hungry." Said Possum with a sss. "Okay, just this once I'll help you, but you have to do everything I say just as I say it." What did he say? You have to do everything I just as I. Deer agreed. Possum said, "Well, it really is very easy. All you have to do is run to the top of that there hill, turn around and run as swiftly down as those little tiny bony legs of yours will carry you, and hit this here persimmon tree so hard with your head that all of the ripe persimmons will fall from the tree to the ground with ease. Once the persimmons are on the ground, why, you can eat and eat and eat till you can eat no more. But you have to do everything I just as I." Deer said, "That is easy, but won't it hurt if I hit a..." "Why, it would hurt a little small, weak possum like me if I hit my owner. But you so big and strong, why, you won't even feel it. But suit yourself. I'll just sit here and eat this last persimmon while you go hungry." "I'll do it," said Deer. "All right, suit yourself, but you have to do everything I just as I." Deer agreed. Possum grinned, watched, and waited. Deer went to the top of the hill just as Possum had instructed, turned around, ran swiftly down, and hit the tree so hard with his head that 2 knots appeared. Sure enough, ripe persimmons fell from the tree to the ground with ease. When the possum saw the 2 knots on the deer's head, he laughed and laughed. Oh my, you did everything and those 2 knots on your head are the funniest thing I've ever seen, said Possum. Then he rolled around in the grass laughing at the poor deer. Well, he laughed so hard that he stretched his mouth in a grand forever. Then he picked up all the ripe persimmons on the ground, put them in his little pouch, and left the deer to rub his aching head. As the years passed, the 2 knots on the deer's head grew into antlers, and that is why, even to this day, the deer has antlers, and why the possum has a large grin. The end. So thank you. So that's the illustration of how I added a double Y ending. So people often ask me about the writing process, and they said, can't be that hard, right? It's only 1,100 words for a picture book. Well, the seed for me often comes organically from children or teachers. Like for my last book, Mumbo Jumbo, Stay Out of the Gumbo, a parent came up to me and said, I love your music, but all of your books have meat in them, and we're vegetarians. Maybe you should think about writing a vegetarian book. So I thought about that, and my mind immediately jumped to gumbo zerbs, a green gumbo that we eat in Louisiana during Lent. It has no meat in it. And then from there, my mind jumped to Cajun Mardi Gras, which was, I don't know why, but my mind jumped there. And I thought, okay, they have a communal gumbo at the end of the Mardi Gras. Then my mind jumped to, well, what if the chicken, because they chase, in Cajun Mardi Gras, they chase a chicken around and they catch the chicken and put him in the gumbo at the end, or ceremoniously. So I thought, okay, well, what if the chicken is clever? And what if he runs around and tells all the other animals to hide? Then at the end, the Cajun Mardi Gras have to eat a vegetarian gumbo. Eureka! Now I have a book. Not so fast. Which animals are typically in gumbo? It's a Cajun Mardi Gras book, so it's set in the Cajun prairie. Do all of the animals we eat in gumbo live in the prairie? No. How do we get oysters and shrimp in the Cajun prairie? Aha! Throw in a bucket and a sack of oysters, put it in the back of the truck. Eureka! A book! Not so fast. What about the children? How do I keep them engaged in the story? I know what. I'll toss in a repeated, catchy refrain, and presto, book. Not so fast. The characters are Cajun. How do I incorporate French into the book and make it easy for children to have French and English words in a book? How do I make it entertaining and educational? How do I make it culturally and visually authentic? What do I want them to learn? What do I want them to celebrate? What do I want them to be proud about? What's the moral? What's the teaching moment? So all of these things go in, just like the 3-year-old asking why? A writer has to say who, what, when, where, why, and how. Why does a chicken care? Why does he care about the other animals? Why doesn't he just save his skin and then let everybody else, fend for themselves? So these are all questions that you have to ask when you're a writer, because if I don't answer those questions in the book, the children will rake me over the coals at a signing, because that's what's great about children, because they are inquisitive and they want to know. And they already know a lot of the why answers, and they want you to validate it. So you have to be honest with them. So, and you talked about my single book, so we got that in. So I strongly believe that when you're doing something you love, and you are in the service of others, then everything falls into place. It is what the Tao calls being in your flow. And you should not only move with your flow of the river, you are the river. You should be the river. And when you're being true to your writers, to your readers, and you're being true to yourself, then you're in your Tao, you are the river. But I didn't get here by myself, and I thank you all so much. No one gets here on their own. There's a community of people around you you love, who believe in you and support you. I live in gratitude for the children, librarians, teachers, and parents who've shared my books over the years. I'm indebted to Judy Stock and Deborah Kader for illuminating the path of my career, and to Pelican Publishing and River Road Press for believing in my books and keeping them in print. I thank you for that. And I'm in awe of the talented illustrators who've captivated children with their art in my books: Heather Stanley, Christina Wald, Jennifer Lindsley, Beth Ann Hill, Julia Marsh, and Catherine Zecca. I celebrate the life of my friend Diane de las Casas. She was a friend and colleague of mine for 20 years. And thank you to my friends and family. Many of my friends are here. I love you. Thank you for coming. My brother is here, and Nancy and Braden, thank you for coming. And to my husband, my soulmate, everything you do is in the service of your music and the music creators you represent, and you're my inspiration. The 2018 marks the 30th year of my career, and I can't think of a better way than to accept this award, to start off that year with people I love here and at the book festival. So I would like to leave you with one thought, and it is: please read and sing to your children. It is a precious gift and bonding experience that they will never, ever forget. I'm 55 years old, and those are the memories I cherish and I chose to talk about today. So thank you all so much, Jim, Rebecca, I love you, and Robert, and Lieutenant Governor. Thank you all very much. Oh my goodness, it's a beautiful award, and to be given this award by Rebecca Hamilton and Jim Davis, and it was just like a dream come true. Yeah.
How long have you been a children's author and musician?
30 years. 2018 will mark my 30th year, so this is a great way to kick off that year.
Tell us about Tell us about your talent. Tell us about your talent, music and writing.
I got that from my parents. They were both musicians, and they both loved to read. So that made the singing-reading connection so much easier and so natural. So most of my books are songs and stories, and then I also have stories like trickster tales.
What's so special about writing and singing to children?
Their honesty. I love the honesty of children. They let you know when they like it, and they let you know when you don't like it. But it's just really great to bond with them.
And what advice do you have for parents of children?
Read to your children. Read to your children. That's so important. And also sing. They don't care what the quality of your voice. Read and sing to your children. It's a bonding experience they'll always have with them.